We're now going over to Brazil. Eugenia Rodrigues. She's the spokesperson for No Corpo Certo, in the right body. She's also the Women's Human Rights Campaign representative in Brazil. Over to you, Eugenia.
One of the most important tools to end discrimination against women is raise boys and girls with equality. Both of them should have the right to live, grow, get education, healthcare, be treated with love, respect, and play. Let kids be kids means allowing them playing with whatever toys and activities they want, have friends of both sexes, letting girls playing in the mud, and letting boys take ballet classes. All of us know most girls and most women do not look like Barbies, and most men and most boys are not G.I. Joe. According to the Article 5 of the CEDAW, states parties shall take all appropriate measures to eliminate practices which are based on stereotyped roles for men and women. Thus, kids that do not conform to stereotypes are just normal kids, and all the suffering they experiment by being out of the boxes has to end. Unfortunately, stereotyped roles are the basis of so-called diagnosis of gender incongruence, the current name for gender dysphoria, in children and adolescents. DSM, Diagnosis Statistical Manual, which is used as a guideline around the world, including here in Brazil, lists as signs of incongruence, quoting, preferences for cross-dressing, for cross-gender roles in make-believe play or fantasy play, for the toys, games, or activities stereotypically used or engaged in by the other gender, and for playmates of the other gender. End of their words. Well, why are doctors concerned about these behaviors? They're not pathological. These kids are not harming themselves, and they are not harming other people. Do these patients really have a problem, or do we have a problem as a society that rejects gender nonconformity? The criteria also mention strong desire of being the other gender and strong body discomfort. But how many girls for centuries dreamed of having the same privileges of their brothers? How many of us hate our bodies until now because of unrealistic beauty standards, or sexual abuse, or body disorders, which again are more common in girls? This diagnosis justifies that medical doctors prescribe puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and in some countries, even irreversible surgeries, which in USA are performed in teens as young as 13. As the spokesperson of a Brazilian campaign against trans in kids, I've done lots of research, and these substances are dangerous. As a recent article on The Independent warns us, I'm quoting, halting puberty is not without health consequences, including the risk of suppression of normal bone density development and greater risk of osteoporosis, loss of sexual function, interference with brain development, and possibly suppressing peak IQ. These are the physical effects. There are also the psychological effects of remaining in a childlike state while their peers grow and mature. For girls who wanting to transition, next comes the question of testosterone, and that too has health implications, including risks of vaginal atrophy, muscle aches, painful cramping due to endometriosis, painful orgasms, increased sweating, moodiness, and aggression. Long-term effects include heightened rates of diabetes, stroke, blood clots, cancer, and heart disease. End of quotation. Is it a coincidence that this diagnosis rockets in every single country where medical doctors managed to decrease the age to body interventions? And that investigative therapy for these cases started to be labeled as conversion therapy? and their gender identity started to be pushed at schools? Is it really about diversity or just money and regressive stereotypes? How do you prevent parents to transition their kids because, as a famous father of a so-called trans girl in Brazil, they didn't want a gay son? Some of you might support these interventions in adults, but we certainly should consider the special condition of children and teens. These interventions are harmful practices, as defined both by CEDAW and the Committee on the Rights of the Child. It damages their mental and physical health, and it might sterilize them at an age they are not fully mature to make this kind of decision. The Article 9 of our declaration requires states reaffirming the need for the protection of the rights of the child. It's a right of boys and girls being different, and it's our duty to protect them. Your signature in our declaration will help us to make this protection happen. Thank you. Obrigada. Thank you. Obrigada.